all these disconnections are driving me nuts. Yeah, I know. I know. I don't know how to disconnect the phone ringing when I am actually on air, because every time somebody calls, I seem to get disconnected today. But before it wasn't like that. So yeah, that would be nice, Prince. That would be very kind of you. Yeah, that would be great. Please do. So we got disconnected for the second time, and okay. Now, I will continue responding to that other question. We finish that up before I go to the next question. But thank you, Prince, for copying and pasting all these. Very kind of you. So as I was saying, so the girl is, and the guy is doing whatever they can so they can get that popularity. So that would, make them feel good. But otherwise, in reality, it's not really doing anything. So if that's the age that you guys are in, then unless you guys understand what you're pursuing is not really to the benefit of the relationship, it's just to some kind of a useless attention that you're receiving, and then things will look better. Now, as far as you texting her whatnot, that he would be in control or not, forget about control. Focus on communication. Obviously, that is what she feels good to have, those attentions and those other boys to talk about. So let her go. Let her go and let her be in her own comfort zone, and eventually she may come to her senses, and that's the time that she realizes the number of boys paying attention to her is not really where it's all at. It's the quality of the relationship, not the number of attention that she receives. And the same thing with you. And then by that time, of course, it's maybe too late and you've gone on your way. You should. So let's go to the next question. Hopefully this will not get disconnected again. So W.D. Bosco says, I had my relationship at a young age, but I finished my study and got my bachelor's degree to make my parents proud of me. But in my case, I am always feeling upset whenever my mama refuses my boyfriend. I don't understand why she is treated him like no one is around. She ignores him. Well, it is natural for any parents to think nothing is good enough for their offspring, for their daughter or for their son. It's just the natural instinct that comes with the package of being a parent. Just imagine you helped raise some living being. Well, I can't use the analogy of child because you don't have a child and you're young. But let's say you have a little pet or have a newborn horse, and you take care of this little pet or this horse, and You clean them, you feed them, you take care of them, you walk them, and you play with them for 18 years. Of course, in the horse age, 18 years is very old, but we're just talking about time. And then at 18, 19, she or somebody else wants to play with that pet, or somebody else wants to ride that horse, or somebody else wants to connect with that animal or that pet that you raised. You'll be very careful, and you will say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. The things that you would even maybe do, but you would be protective of that what you have helped raise. And you don't think anybody would be caring enough, careful enough to play and handle and interact with that puppy or that horse that you helped raise good enough, carefully enough, compassionate enough, kind enough. So that would be the main objection. And the same thing your mom is doing. It's not that she wants to be rude. She shouldn't. She should give chance to that boy who's being courteous and nice and kind to you, and get to know him and create a connection. This is a normal interaction between boy and girl that will happen regardless she likes it or not. But the fact that she's not doing it because naturally she thinks nobody's good enough for you. So you need to discuss with her that, Mom, getting a friend, it's not the end of the world. And nobody's good enough for anybody at the beginning. But when they get to know each other, they can compromise, they can, make things change, they can understand each other's needs and expectations, and that's how they become good enough. Otherwise, from the outset, nobody's good enough for anybody. Until their consciousness gets to know each other, they understand how it's been put together, they can communicate on different levels than just physical interactions, sports and gathering and lunch and dinner and dancing and intimacy. Beyond this, that's where the actual getting to know each other takes place. And that's when they will be able to be good enough or not good enough. So you got to discuss these. Otherwise you can say, Mom, there will be no one that would be good enough in your opinion unless you get to know them. How can you say someone isn't good enough or not good enough if you don't actually get to know them? And you can only get to know them by paying attention to them, communicating with them, being kind to them, showing them what it is that you expect somehow, if you want to be that involved. So this communication should take place. Perhaps it will help her to know what she's doing is not really helpful while you understand why she's doing it. So you kind of encourage her to be more open and see the actuality of things rather than her perception of how it was maybe with her husband or when she was growing up, and she's not really seeing it as it is. She's perceiving it as how it was then and what the intentions were and all these old traditions and things like that. So this communication would perhaps be a little bit helpful. Now, let's see. So we had that. Nishant says, what is the cause of insecurities? Ooh, big question. That question is at least an hour discussion. So for that question, you can go to my YouTube channel, and on my channel, search for mechanical process, psychological security, or go to my playlist called The Psyche. In that playlist, you will find the answer to this question, which is quite a good question, and I love to talk about it. But this is not the place for it, because I've already discussed this in long lectures of, I guess we are on number 5 live talks. I think I had that number 3 or 4 or 8. It was a year ago. But if you go on my YouTube channel and click on Live Talk 2016 playlist or the Psyche. Between these two playlists, you will find many of the live talks that has a title that in it we've discussed this, or the earlier on live talks that were exclusively just lectures, no discussions, and you can see the title of it to see if it fits what you're looking for, or at the playlist The Psyche, you will find discussions on this matter. Now, that was a very good question. I was tempted to get into it, of course. you pushed your finger on what I want to. I'm waiting, pouncing on this question, but it's going to be longer than what we hoped for. And so, kindly, Prince has copied in the questions that were already put in when we got disconnected. So the other question that he has put in is from Mike Murdoch. It says, do you know of the narcissistic... Okay, I get more questions than I get. Now I think we got enough questions to continue for the why. Murdoch says, do you know of the narcissistic personality disorder type people, and is there any way to deal with them or just to be avoided? Just avoid them. Just avoid them. It's like saying, how to deal with a poisonous, venomous snake. Well, you can deal with it, but in the process you can get stung a few times, and you may even just lose interest of, life itself. So if you can, definitely avoid these idiots, and just go on and move on. Don't get hooked on what physical benefits or pleasures you may receive, or some kind of a security because of that person provides something. I don't know if that narcissistic personality is a woman or a man that you're talking about, but nevertheless, whatever it is that you receive as far as pleasure or benefit from it, it's never ever worth what you're going to have to put up with, all the manipulations, all the ups and downs, so on. Leave that and go build something out of yourself. Become independent in every way, as far as financially or emotionally and so on, and then you will be more qualified to expect higher quality, expect quality people, because these narcissistic people are not quality people. They're just nuts, and you don't want to have anything to do with them because they have lots of shortcomings, and they want to hold you responsible for all those shortcomings, because they're just simply not the right energy to be around. So now let's go to the next question. We have MK Huang says, hi, hello dear. It's been a while since I saw you here. Ashna Handa says, we broke up 6 months before, but we both regret it. But we can't be together, and I am still depressed. Can't get him out of my head. Forgo how to live. Please help me. Ashna, you just said it logically to yourself that you broke up for a reason, and missing that person, it's natural. When you break up with someone, you will tend to miss. Then the more you think about that person and stop thinking about what was wrong with that relationship and keep focusing on what was good about it, you will miss that person more, and you will forget about why we broke up ever. And then you think, oh, I regret it. I shouldn't have broke up, because you can't really put yourself back where it was and how it was that caused you to break up. And then you say, if you guys both are regretting it, why don't you both then decide to get back together and then break up again and then figure, oh, that's why I broke up. But realize that's not the end of the world. The whole life cannot be condensed to one person or one relationship that didn't work. So you gotta give more credit to life. The problem is when something goes wrong in our lives, in these sort of things, of course, you panic. You think that the only thing that exists is the now. Past is dead, we talked about it. Future doesn't exist. And you feel there is nothing outside of what I know and what I can see at this moment exists. Because for me to believe something, I gotta see it or I gotta know it. And you don't see any other relationship or don't know any other relationship can come to your life. Therefore, on that premise, you feel there will never be anything more. And you panic because you're accustomed to only be hopeful and to accept, believe something that you can see or something that you know. Since you neither know that there's going to be any other relationship, nor would you see someone lining up to get to know you, you think then there is nothing other than this what it was. And for that you panic. You get anxiety and you get depressed because you cannot understand that yes, the past is dead, future doesn't exist, and the now is the only thing. But what most people forget is that there's lots of now moments. It's not only one now moment. Only this very moment, compared to this very moment, the past is dead, the future doesn't exist. But this very moment becomes past very quickly, and there is another now. There's millions of these nows that they're going to be arriving as soon as this one is done. This moment is done. So, on that basis, knowing that there are millions and billions of nows going to follow this now, that you say there's nothing else but this moment, knowing that there's billions of more nows other than this now, will give you that feeling of confidence that yes, even though I don't see or I don't know that other relationships or other people will be interested in me, but I damn well know that what I cannot see in the now, I may be able to see in the next now, which will be always following the every now that you're in. That tells you this now that relationship has ended in it is not the end of the nows. It's not the end of time. It's not the end of life. It's just one fragment, one fraction of all the nows that put your life together, that something in it didn't work. But because there are going to be a lot more nows to come, many other things in it could also with it come. And you will get to see, to know, and to see and experience it then. With that premise, with that knowledge, you won't be depressed because you will always know there's going to be a lot more yet to come. Just as this came, which at one point wasn't in existence, you didn't know it, you didn't see it, but it happened. The same will happen again and again and again and again in the many other nows that will form your life to come. I hope that would be something for you to be helpful, and Ashna to think about it. MK from USA. Oh, okay, good. MK says, is there such thing as twin flame? You mean you liking two persons at the same time? Or is it two people liking each other? I just experienced this, but just want to confirm. Well, explain a little bit more, because I want to understand what you mean by twin flame. I'm a little bit confused here. So, now, W.D. Bosco says, now, WD, what does WD stand for? It all reminds me when I was a student in college and I was working in a gas station. There are different kind of oil that people would want for their cars. WD-40, WD-10, WD-15, WD-30, depending how old or new the car was, we would know what to put in there. So I don't want to think of you as a motor oil. So is that stand for William or what is it? So at least I know Bosco's name. And he says, we've been in a relationship now for 7 years. And all I want is to accept him as my boyfriend. We are always wanted to do good and show her good things. But she is always refusing it. Well, sit with your mother. I guess you're the one where we talked about mom's not accepting your boyfriend, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, okay, yeah, you are. So you need to sit down with your mom and say, Mom, are you going to marry me? Are you going to sleep beside me? Are you going to take care of me forever? Are you going to give me that feeling of being in an intimate relationship that I need? Are you going to do all this? Because each person in my life has their own place. Nobody can be my mother. Nobody can be you, Mom. Nobody can do what you do, the love you have, the protection, the feeling you have for me, the connection that we have. And at the same time, Mom, nobody can be, in a relationship with me, an intimate relationship with me, than the person that I choose. You can't be that person, as that person cannot be my mother. Each person has their own role in people's lives. So will you please tell me, what do you want me to do if I tell this relationship not good enough for me, that relationship not good enough for me, this one not good enough, that? Are you going to be my sweetheart? What is it? So you better understand that me loving or liking somebody else does not take away from my respect and love for you and appreciation for you. If that's what's in your mind. Otherwise, if you want something good for me, then why don't you let me also enjoy my life, and at the same time, I will be the judge of it, if that person is good enough for me or not. You got to have respect and faith in me as much as I have for you. Perhaps this conversation would be something you would follow up with. Now, again, WD says she's been doing this for a couple of years. I don't want to get mad to her because she's my mom. Yeah, okay, we discussed that. Now, Diane says, I ended a 12-year relationship with borderline personality man. He became very verbally abusive. It's taken a lot on me. Healing is so hard. Why? Well, 12 years of conditioning. You put up with something for 12 years. Even a jailed person will get attached to the jailer and will look at the jailer as some necessity, even though the jailer has jailed him. I'm not talking about a criminal being in jail. I'm talking about someone who's been abducted and has been kept captive. And even in that situation, the captive will gain certain kind of a familiarity with the captor and gets used to it and depends on it. And all that eventually becomes part of the norm, order of his life. A certain mechanical process has been created. The jailer comes, brings food at a certain hour. He's in control of letting you out of the jail to go and walk in the sun a little bit. all of that conditioning, the mechanical process plus the mechanical process that has been created by you expecting food certain hour, I will eat this, then I will go out, then I will walk, then I will do. These are the things that you got to do in order for your brain to believe that there is an order here in your life. You need that whole order to continue for you to feel secure and psychologically balanced. And this has been done through this 12 years of relationship with this person. And you have become used to that mechanical process that's been created by this narcissistic or borderline personality disorder person in relation with you. And you've gotten used to all that things that you would do during the day with him or with your time because of this relationship being the way it was. And that has given you a certain kind of a psychological balance, because mechanical process brings that illusory psychological balance. And then that also conditions you that you have this order. And now, breaking up with that, as healthy as it could be in many angles for your life, at the same time, it takes a while before a new order is created, and the old order is now forgotten. And a new mechanical process is created in your life as you deal with new life without this whole old order had to do with the old mechanical process. That's going to take a bit of time. But the more you realize that that whole thing that you feel depressed or you trying to heal and all that you find it difficult, is because of the conditioning of the time that it took for you to feel emotion and sympathy for your captor in a way, or to put up with whatever it was that you had to put up with. And that had become your order. And now what is not there anymore is that you feel the old order is not there, so you feel a disorder. Until you create a new order in your life, this is going to be a little difficult. So keep going forward, learn new things, socialize, and create a new mechanical process for yourself, which is what I do this day, today, this hour, that hour, all the things that you do to make yourself feel useful and good. And eventually a new order will be created for you, and you will be free from this. And don't keep thinking about how bad it was. It was bad. Now you're not there. So keep going on. Look forward. Nishant Mehta says, do you have any idea about retroactive jealousy disorder? Well, I can understand what it is, but you need to give me a scenario, so at least I would be able to focus on what it is that you are looking at. Ashna Handa says, thank you, you're welcome. Amber Khan says, great discussion, like always. Good to see you, Amber. Now, have we answered all questions here? I believe I have. I believe I have. So, if that's the case, Prince, what time do we have? I think we had a number of good questions that we addressed. Sorry that it was interrupted a couple of times, but 12:38. Okay, well, that's the time that we can say, have a good day, guys. Amber says, I came after so long. Hope you have been well. Good to see you. Good to see you too, dear. I'm glad that you could make it today. So, thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and hope you will sort things out through your week. Be good to yourself and to your loved ones, and take good care of yourself and the others. I love you all, and see you either tomorrow at the Amazing Things in the World Facebook page for another live talk, or next week, same time, same place. Talk to you later. Bye for now.